Okie dokie, everybody. Hello. Thanks for your patience. It's always a tricky time to transition to. So anyway, thank you for being patient. Here we are. We're going to go ahead and get started. As usual, this is the Oakbridge Q&A. Thanks for being here. You can ask questions about anything that you want to ask questions about, your development, healing, any of these things, psychic, mediumship, philosophy, I don't know, all the things. So I do want to let you guys know also about upcoming things. We do have our new two new offerings at Oakbridge Institute. We have the one that starts on Sunday for 6 weeks. It is a personal development, specifically parts work and mediumship. So it's about finding the blocks that are blocking us in our mediumship that might not be spiritual, that might be our own personal development. That'll be taught by myself and associate therapist and medium Miranda Francis. Or Miranda Francis McDonald. So we are going to be doing that. That starts on Saturdays. If you're interested in that event specifically, you can go to oakbridgeinstitute.org under the events tab and you can register there. There's a few spots left for that. I just need to push live. Nope, I already went live there. Okay, great. So I'm all set. What else do I need to say? I don't think that there's other things necessarily. We do also have a course starting in September that's also personal development geared, not necessarily mediumship, and that is called the Inward Journey, and that will be a 10-month program. So we would start in September 13th, and we actually end on July 11th with a break for the holidays. So that's another thing to look at. You can look at under courses at oakbridgeinstitute.org. With all that out of the way, we are going to be talking about questions that you have about your mediumship development, about healing, psychic, whatever it is that you got. I'm going to do my best to answer if I can. If I can't, I'll send you somewhere else where you might find that answer. So that's it. I am live on multiple platforms at the same time, but I always give preference to the people who are physically here in the Zoom room. So if you are in the Zoom room, I will always kind of defer to you guys first before looking at other folks as well. So is it Yuichi? Is that how I say your name? Hi, Yuichi.
Hi, Yuichi. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Have we met before?
No.
Well, welcome. Happy to have you. You're in Pasadena. That's actually where I was born. Fun fact.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's where I was born. And my family is really from Pasadena, which is kind of fun. Do you ever go to the, I think it's called a high spiritual center there? It's like a high or something like that.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
No.
they have like a bunch of spiritual things that happen there, and it's right there in your backyard. So something to look at. Anyway, welcome, because you're a new face, so I figured I'd say hello to you. Do we have any other new faces? Marsha, have I seen you before? I see Aaron. Aaron, have I worked with you before? Hi. You are muted.
Hi. No.
Oh, I lost you, Aaron.
I'm not quite sure what's happening with me yet, or if I feel like I shouldn't even be speaking right now amongst all of you, but something's going on and I'm really trying hard to figure it out.
Well, you came to the right place. This is the perfect place to look to see if you can find any extra answers on your journey with whatever's going on. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. We are going to be moving through these different things. So I will be looking also to my people over here at the Tickety Talks, and then also over here at my YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. So let's go ahead and jump in. But before I do, I just have to tell my partner to bring me both my chargers because I don't want everything to die within the next hour. Let me just text him really quick. Okay, perfect. So let's start off with my folks. I did have someone ask here, do you teach healing? Does Oakbridge teach healing? And will you teach a healing class? Yeah, actually we do. We do teach energy healing. And that's actually the next one on the list to be put out and be brought forward. So we're really, really excited. Mama Monster, we're excited you found me too. So yeah, let's go. Hey, Sage. Lily, let's start with you.
Hello, hello. All right, so Saturday's class was amazing. first time reading anyone, connected with people. I was really shocked by what happened actually, but I guess going into it, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I mean, like the instructions were to just like put everything we've been doing together, right? But then I think what I experienced was a lot of, like, I was feeling from the heart space and really focused on feeling, but it was paired with so many images, and that was what I was going off a lot of. And actually those hits.
Great.
A lot of it was hits. So is that something to not pay attention to yet? Or
no, I mean, we always say if your images are correct and it's right, that's okay. Yeah. But if you're getting no's, we want you to ignore your images. So the thing is could you still feel presence? Could you still feel spirit during that process?
Well, and that was the other thing, like based on your demonstration last week, it was like, when we blend, right? It almost felt like I didn't feel anything, but then I started getting the sense of who this person was. It was almost like the presence disappeared.
Yeah.
And I was like concerned for a second, and I was like, well, but I also feel this. So, and I felt that, and I definitely felt some aspects of tingling, whatever, but it was like a lot of information.
Yeah. So if you had some essence of tingling, some essence of awareness of presence, that's okay. If we find that it starts to veer into the pictures and you start getting it wrong, then we're just going to adjust and fix some of that. The reality is that the feeling part, we want to be able to sense what we're feeling, not just overly focus on the images. And if you're getting context and things from the feeling in addition to the pictures, then you're doing it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it felt like it wasn't like when you say going to the head, it didn't feel like it was coming from here. It was like almost like I was seeing from here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect.
Oh, awesome.
Congratulations. So that was your first time you'd never made a link to the spirit before?
I mean, like only what we've done in class.
Yeah, and so that was the first time being able to
verbalize anything, and it was kind of wild. And then it was like it took a long time to come down from it too.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a cool, exciting
totally
thing. But that's the thing with our teaching program, right? Like we hold your hand through the whole process. We take you step by step.
Yeah.
And then we go, okay, now we're going to blend together all the pieces that we have, taught you up to this point. And then what happens? The result is you connecting. This is why we know that mediumship can be taught, despite what everybody wants to say, or not everybody, but some people on the internet try to tell people, oh, you can't, not everybody can learn mediumship. You have to be born that way. They say all kinds of things. And I'm like, just because you don't know how to teach people mediumship doesn't mean it can't be taught. It is taught. And the other thing is that mediumship is something that we all can do. Anyone can do it. It's not just special people who are born that way. That's just not what I have seen in my experience. That's not what the data shows. All of our students do learn how to make a link. There are some exceptions where people may struggle a little bit more, especially if they're particularly, I would say, like mental people. Like if they're very analytical people, that can sometimes be harder, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. I'm a very analytical person. So you just have to learn how to let go and get out of the way, which is harder for people who want to understand everything, be in control, because mediumship is the exact opposite experience. It's letting go of control. It's letting something happen to you without you directing. And that can be scary and uncomfortable. And when you go through life trying to control everything, it makes it harder. But everyone can learn that skill. That's a skill. So anyway, Lily, I'm happy to hear that you were able to connect. I mean, that's what we want.
Yeah, I was very shocked, but yeah, you can totally use me as like another data point of this working.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, there is no accident to the fact that you're developing it. It's a formula. We literally were like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But I'm assuming, Lily, were pretty consistent with your sitting in the powers throughout up to this point.
Yeah.
So you were doing what we were asking you to do, which is what we always say to the students at the beginning. You'll get in what you put in, or you get out what you put in. And you were doing that, and you were asking the questions, and you were being involved, and you were doing all the things, and you show up to these to get more information. So, those are the people that really succeed quickly, right? So great job.
Thank you.
Let's go over to, hold on, I gotta just expand my little window here. Andrea.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, aura readings, color readings.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do this in mediumship to get the energy or the aura of the spirit communicator?
That can happen. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the thing I would try to use as my foundation, but I would say that sometimes that can come through. I'd prefer you to focus on the blending and the connection of the spirit and what starts to arise within you, rather than trying to kind of use a technique to gather information, especially a visual one, because visual ones tend to keep the person a little bit further away. Like, you're looking at this thing that's happening outside of me, and the point of mediumship is blending. So we want to be feeling them close. We want to be experiencing. Has that ever happened where color has come in as a useful tool to describe something related to the spirit communicator? Yes, but I wouldn't suggest to kind of employ that as your method, so to speak. Make sense?
Okay. Is it just not as accurate as the way it is with one who's like just right in front of your face?
It's because the point is blending, and visual tends to keep them over here, and you're talking about something happening over there. We want it to come from the internal experience of their closeness. And so it's because it's going to eventually, what will happen is that will stop at a certain point. You can only get so far when you keep your communicator at arm's length, right? And so I don't want to have you build that habit and then have to undo that habit later on. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
Good question. I know we'll come back and get some more from you. Florian?
Hi there.
Hi.
My question, I don't know if it's like kind of weird. It's not about like practice. As someone who's like an ex-Catholic, I guess I just wondering if there's like a common belief around what we would consider like people in this life who are evil or like extremely bad. And like, if we all have spirit guides and this is like predetermined before we're here, it's just, I guess like, I'm just like wondering like how that happens, or how spirit feels. Like, if you're someone who's like truly like inflicts just like evil on other humans, like how does their spirit guide feel about them? Like, I guess, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's a judgment thing. I don't feel like they're going to be like, oh no, you're so evil and bad, and the spirit guide is like, damn, you're so evil. Like, I don't think that that's how they think of us. We have to remember that from their vantage point, this is a play, right? Like, this is a movie. This is watching a movie, essentially, because they know that the actors leave those roles once they cross to the other side. So they're watching this kind of from that vantage point, recognizing that this person's acting a certain way, they're behaving a certain way, and it's having an impact on others around them. And they also understand that the physical plane isn't necessarily a place that's always going to be, peace and love and all of that sort of thing, right? The sort of illusion of the finality of death and all that stuff is part of what creates great impact on our spirit, on our soul, on our beings. And so while I think that they would want them to make better choices, They understand the story, they understand the why, they understand the experience, and I'm sure that they're trying to help them to be better. But if the person is not is really focused in on the things that are maybe the brain and the mind are kind of creating, it's difficult for them to maybe get through, or because remember, you don't have to do the things that your guide inspires you to do, you know what I mean? And so I think if we take away the idea of necessarily good and bad, and we view it more as what moves us towards love and what moves us away from love, I think that is probably a easier way to understand that they probably view this as something that's pushing them further away from the love. But that's also where that spirit, that soul, that person, that identity, that's where they are in their journey, right? Like that's what they're learning. They're learning the lessons that come through those kinds of things as well. So they're also on their evolutionary personal development. And that's not to, excuse these things. It's not to say that they're justified. They're not to say anything like that. But it's a different vantage point to view it than I think from here, if that makes sense, Florian.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really beautiful and good explanation of that. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's my understanding anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Thank you. Let's jump over to, let's see this. I assume it's still fair to say that certain people are more naturally inclined to mediumship. Yes, but it's more so because most people that are inclined towards mediumship have often experienced a lot of trauma in their lives. And so they're used to having to sense and feel everything that's going on, the slightest change in breath, the slightest difference in the air. And that is something that I think lends itself to mediumistic awareness. Yes, and Adam says, and not everyone knows they got a spirit guide anyway. And that's true. That's true. Not everybody does know that. How wide do you open your aura when you're doing a mediumship reading versus sitting in the power? If I am doing a mediumship reading or sitting in the power, I'm not necessarily thinking like I must get this wide, but it's more so I would say about arm's length around you is probably enough. You don't really have to go further than that, even though my meditation does ask you to go further than that. You don't have to. The only reason that I do that as a prompt in that meditation to like fill the room and then go beyond it is that sometimes if we just say arm's length, people really stay focused here. But if I tell them go way beyond, where they need to be, that causes them to kind of go maybe here, right? Like a little bit wider. So there's a reason that that we do it that way. Someone else asked, how do you get into your Zoom calls? All you have to do is just go to oakbridgeinstitute.org and register there for that call. I did put the link in the chat though, because I don't know if you'll be able to still get into it. Let's go to Lisa.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So mine is about colors. So going into this, especially in the call that we did yesterday with Miranda and such, and the exercise that she led us through, I find like I want to know more about the colors and find out more information about like what they mean and how they come in and that, just to give a little more depth. Because what I noticed after yesterday was it was consistently everything. I saw two colors, everything was in that. So I did like Googling after and went down the AI hole about what is this and such like that. And it provided more kind of depth to my ahas or whatever. But I'm always, what's a trusted resource that you would go to that you would use for finding out more information on?
Gosh, I
that?
have a book and I am trying to remember who wrote it. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, to be honest. There's really only one. However, you may be able to find Gordon Higginson's color class somewhere on his website or on YouTube. He teaches a class on color, which is something else that I think is something that you can look at.
Okay.
And gosh, I'll have to get you the name of the book. It's somewhere under my bed. I need to get a bookshelf and I don't have a bookshelf. So all my books are under the bed and I'm like, okay, I have to like go under there and sift through the mess that is there. Very bad feng shui, in case anyone's wondering. But yeah, I have a bunch. It's somewhere there. I have to look at it. It's a very thin book. Oof. And it
Okay.
goes through all the colors, and I really like that as a resource.
Yeah. Well, it's just, and sometimes, so especially at first with the colors, I don't always see them at first, but I know them. Like,
Sure.
it gets, when in our last exercise, we were kind of like, well, what more shade is it? And when I think about that, I can see more of a shade. Is it light? Is it dark? Is it whichever? But at first and I'm assuming this is normal. It's just like, I know it's red. I know it's peach. I know it's, and I don't know if I'm looking to you for confirmation that, like, yep, that's sometimes how it comes through, but I would love to learn more exercises about how to enhance this part of it and see more.
Well, you're in the psychism class, and we're going to do a ton
Correct.
with the colors, and we're going to do a ton, like that's going to be the basis of how we read people. So you're going to keep working with those colors, and you're going to sort of discover as you're working with it, the context and meaning of it. I think they sent out the slides. They send the slides out for the psychism course for this. Okay, so that's where
I think so.
I would
yes.
start there with memorization of sort of what those things are, but then as you work with them, they will start to make more sense for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. I just feel
But
like
yeah,
once I started opening
out-
to it, it's
you're experiencing it more now.
yeah.
And that's great. And that's lovely. And so we'll start to see how that unfolds, through the psychism exercise courses. Is my audio really low? Yes, it is. Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me like way better now in the Zoom room? Okay, great. Sorry. It automatically does that for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so that's what I would suggest. The other thing, check and see if you can find that Gordon Higginson color class somewhere online. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere online for free. I want to check in quickly with, hello, Natalie. I want to check in if Aaron or Yuichi have any questions at this point, or you guys are good.
I actually have been trying to get the nerve up too, because again, I just feel like, oh my gosh, everybody is so much far beyond where I am. But I don't know how to take the next step, I guess. So I've been feeling things for sure. Like I feel spirit. Things are happening very fast every day. Like there's signs, there's things that are just smacking me upside the head that I'm going, okay, I can't ignore this anymore, nor do I want to. And I can't soak up things fast enough. Like I've gone down a Michael Mayo rabbit hole that might scare you.
I love it. No, it won't scare me. That's hilarious.
I'm all over the board. I'm soaking up as much as I can. But I was in your class actually, or your live with you, and I've forgotten her name.
Miranda.
Yes, thank you. Which was wonderful on Sunday. And it really was interesting to me because there was a woman there that said, well, I'm a sensitive. And I thought, So I did a little Googling on that, and I thought, well, maybe is that what I am? But everything that I've heard you say, and you've already said here today, is that it still could and should be able to turn into mediumship, or do you feel like if you're a sensitive, because I'm feeling like that's where I might already be sitting. I don't know. I should and could, based on that, be able to turn that into mediumship with foundations. Is that kind of sound?
You're right on. So it's very normal for people to have varying levels of awareness naturally, because mediumship and psychic awareness is natural. It is something that we all can do. We all have access to. The thing that is unnatural is saying, do it right now. That's the unnatural thing. But if you're just kind of like going about your day and living your life, and all of a sudden you're hit with something, that is the way that it's meant to work naturally, right? But if you're going to work with other people and you're going to say, okay, come to me at this time of this day, you need development to be able to cultivate that so that you're able to do that on command consistently and learn how to work through all the things that come up as you're doing that. So with that in mind, yes, do I think that you'd be able to develop this? Of course. Without you even telling me any of the stories of the things that you have experienced, the fact that you're experiencing anything at all suggests that you likely will be able to develop that. I think whether you've had experiences or not, you can develop it if you're interested in it. So one thing that I always, suggest people to start with, if they're interested, and especially since Foundations 1 doesn't start again until January through Oakbridge, I would suggest starting off with the Foundation series. Starting off with my book, Spirit Speaks. That's a great book to, as a resource. There are other books I can also recommend, but I feel that's a really good companion for where you're going to go anyway. And then the next thing that I would suggest is joining Foundations 1 and seeing what happens there and unfolding that. Some of the people you've heard talk today are actually pretty much everybody in this room, minus a couple, are in Foundations 1 or have completed Foundations, all of that. So I would suggest that as sort of the starting point. If you're not already practicing sitting in the power, I would recommend starting with that too. It looks like you're doing all the things, Erin.
I'm trying. So I think I asked one of your lives about your audiobook. I was hoping that would come sooner, but I'm just realizing I've got to dig in and just find the time to read it amongst all of the things.
It's so soon, Erin. Like literally, I have the page open. I'm uploading all the files, and then there's just this one little error that we run into that we're trying to fix. And I literally will probably do that today, right after this call, and I will upload it. And then it'll be, I think it takes like a month or so, a little longer than a month to be available. So like we're literally like right there. So if you want to wait a month,
right,
it'll be there. It's going to be there very, very soon because everything's done. It just needs to just be uploaded and submitted.
That's great. I guess my last question, since I'm here now, is you said your next Foundations class starts in January, and I've already looked at that and stalked that, of course, not surprisingly. And if I'm correct, that said that there's a join the wait list. And so I did do that, but does that mean that probably it is full? Like, should I put my hopes in that basket, or will more spots open up?
Right now, the only reason there's a wait list is because we don't usually open it up to register until about a month or two before it starts.
Okay.
So yeah, you're good. You will be able to get in.
So it won't. If I decide that's what I'm, which I am citing, that's my goal.
Yeah.
So I should be good to go. Yeah. Okay. Now it just needs to be January.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everybody always says. But you know what? Time flies crazily fast. Hold on, I'm just going to close this window because the trash smells right now. I just finished CrossFit and it was very difficult. So like walking around and doing anything is like baby giraffe is how it feels right now, just trying to walk, which is hilarious. But hopefully that's helpful, Erin.
So helpful. Sorry for taking up the time to everyone who is much far above and beyond, but that was extremely helpful. Thank you.
Honestly, Erin, everybody's welcome. Any level, anything. Like this is all your guys' time. This is free time for everybody here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, Yuichi.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
I haven't taken your classes, but I did sign up for something that's coming up in September.
Sure.
On a different website. I didn't really have a question, but as Erin was talking, something occurred to me. So I'm a lifelong meditator, and when I first read about this sitting in power or whatever, I immediately knew what that space was, and so I just do that every day, and just kind of comes easy.
Yeah.
And so, but here's the kind of question, or I'm kind of curious if you have any thoughts on this. So things happen, right? Like maybe weirdo things happen. And
you mean like when you're sitting?
Not when I'm sitting, but like, just
in life.
In life, yeah.
Okay.
Well, coincidental, whatever, right? And the people arrive and you get information and so on, and things line up. And I've noticed this phenomena, which is I'll just kind of share it with whoever happens to be around me.
Yeah.
And the kind of person who I would expect to be skeptical sometimes will just be like, wow, thanks so much. And I could just feel this sense of appreciation. It just, I'm always taken aback by that kind of a reaction because I'm not sharing it to help them. I'm just sharing, what happened. And then I've noticed in other places, it's like throwing a bone into a black hole, like never hear. Yeah. And I'm kind of curious, like if you have any thoughts on that it, in both cases, it's a little bit jarring, not in a negative way, but well, maybe in the other one, but it's not positive or negative. It's just more the surprising element of like how unpredictable the response of the network of relationships that I have seem to be. And I'm curious, like what your experiences have been or what you've observed, or if anything occurs to you around that aspect of sort of traversing this inner reality and sort of relating it to sort of ordinary people, friends.
So a couple of thoughts here. So the first one is that we may become aware of things, and sometimes there's appropriateness to share them, and other times there isn't. And it all depends on the relationship that you have with the person, and if they've given you consent that's cool. Like if they feel like that's something that they're open to, that they would want to hear about, then I'm willing to share that information with them if it were to arise. However, if I get something that maybe I don't know how the person's going to take it or how they're going to feel about it, then I don't give that information. And the reason is, and even if it's like a spirit person, although it's very rare that a spirit person or a message tries to come through, it's very rare that I will actually say anything to that person. And that's because you as mediums, and obviously I don't know what kinds of things you're sharing with other people, but if I was doing this as a medium, you don't know how people feel about the topic, right? Some people think you're talking to demons. Some people think that, you're disturbing their loved one by having a communication. Some people believe that anyone who says that they're doing this stuff, they're grifters and they're just trying to get money from people, right? So there's so many different opinions. And it's also, if you're religious, you might think that it's the devil or whatever. And you don't know how people are going to respond. And so for us, like with my students, we always teach them, you only give information out to people if you've had consent. So if you have friends and things like that are like, yeah, I'm open if you ever feel anything, and you get consent from them, then it's okay. And you can say things to them because they know what to expect. If you don't know
wanted
anything,
to interrupt before. So I'm actually just sharing things that happened to me is all I'm doing.
Sure.
But with no intent to like persuade anybody, but if someone says, hey, how are you doing? How was your past week? And I'm like, well, my past week was this and blah, 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 blah. But I guess the degree of response seems so magnified, but nothing's been negative, right? Because I'm not trying to impose anything on anybody.
Yeah.
This is more of this. I've just been surprised at like the kinds of people that I would have expected, like a very religious person to say, what the hell is that? To be like, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't even trying to say anything to help you. You asked me how I was doing and I just told you. And, and then other people who seem very spiritually inclined, it's like, they don't even hear anything. And it's almost like I didn't say anything and we're just talking about something else.
And that is surprising, but also I think that comes from what we would describe as like our assumptions about other people, right? So like we believe certain things about people just based off of our lived experience and assume certain things. And when we realize that, everybody is dealing with things that go beyond maybe the labels or the thoughts that they may express, I think that's where we get more of that kind of maybe less expectation on like what we think's going to happen. And I think it's, there's something valuable to the idea of like you sharing your experience and it having an impact on someone else. And I think it kind of framing it that way feels, great. I mean, in the sense of, it feels like you're just sharing an experience and you're sharing you as a living human being living in this world. And I think that can create connection for some people, and then for other people, they might receive that in a very different way. So it's kind of one of those things that's just interesting. It's just interesting who's available and who's open and willing to receive something and who's not.
Yeah, that's exactly the word, interesting. And I just wondered if you have had any other thoughts about it.
I think I'm a little bit more cautious. I think because of my work and my experience with my work, I'm a little bit more hesitant to. I wait for people to come to me. Maybe that's the best way to say that. I wait for people to open that door, and if someone opens the door, I walk into the open door. And but I appreciate the part of you that wants to be so authentic and share your true experiences with people, and I think that that's a beautiful thing to have. Yeah, thank you. For advanced students, what do you do? Those who are natural mediums who already teach and have a natural understanding, what do I do? So I think, are you referring to what do we do when we teach them? What do we offer them? What specifically are you wondering, Dawn? Is that what you're wondering? Who have I studied with, the other mediums? My two main teachers were Gordon Smith and Eileen Davies. Those are my two biggest influences, I would say, on my mediumship. So what do we do? What do we teach? If you're already a working medium or you already teach and you're looking for continued development, pretty much the only thing that we would offer, well, two things we would do. One, we would offer you an assessment session to see where we could place you, depending on what your understanding is. We would ask you questions and we'd have you do a reading. And then that would tell us where we'd place you within Oakbridge, depending on what that is. That being said, it's we teach things very different than other schools and other people and other development processes. So, as long as you show understanding and proficiency in those areas, then that may make a difference. So you do a reading for us and we'd ask you a series of questions, and that would give us information. The other thing that we would offer is I do mentoring. So if you're already a working medium and you're interested in developing further, and you don't necessarily want to go through the Oakbridge track, you can always do mentoring with me, either one-on-one, two-on-one, or small group mentoring. And then that gets tailored to you wherever you are at whatever level that you are. So hopefully that is helpful. You'd find mentoring information at mediummichaelmayo.com/mentoring. And then Oakbridge stuff is you would just send a message to Oakbridge saying, I'd like to do an assessment, placement assessment. So those would be your options, Don. Hello, Matthew. Have not seen you in a long time. Nice to see that you're here. Hi, just wanted to say I learned of you this past week through Shift. I was researching you online and stumbled here now, even noticed it was 222 and my hands were tingling with energy. Oh, that's cool, Laura. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to come to everybody else in this group in just a second. Just need to catch up on these. Do people use aura with spiritual mediumship as well, or is it strictly used for psychic reasons? Well, we use our aura to connect, to open our energy, to be able to sense and feel presence and spirit. And we also use the aura of the sitter for psychic purposes. What are some of the ways we can build our vocabulary with spirit? So if you mean like symbolic vocabulary, we at Oakbridge don't really teach symbolism. We don't really believe that for mediumship work to use like sort of a vocabulary or like a shorthand for the spirit. And the reason is unfortunately, I find that tends to put people into their thinking mind, and they tend to kind of go, well, if I'm thinking this, like if I see this, it must mean this, rather than noticing what do I feel in the moment, and let that be the thing that drives the information. So if I see an apple in one instance, an apple can be an apple orchard, apple pie, a teacher, a doctor, the big apple, right? There's so many different things that it can mean. So if I have a list, and this is what you'll see with a lot of people who have that sort of imagery, sort of vocabulary, shorthand list, they'll list things out when they see a picture. They'll go, we call that listing. And they'll go, I'm seeing an apple. And that can mean that you either have this, Does that make sense to you? And we don't want to teach listing because we want that spirit to give you exactly what it is. So what's missing from that equation is if you see apple, you say, I'm being made aware of apple, let that go. Notice what it makes you feel. And the feeling will provide context for what it means in this moment. So then it kind of makes the sort of shorthand maybe obsolete, because it's all about what am I feeling in this moment? What does that mean for me right now? Which I think is more important. If the Foundations had a textbook, would it be Spirit Speaks? Yes, I would say so, because that book is written off of Foundations 1. What are some ways we can build our, I already read that one. Is there an audio version of your book? It's about to come out like in a month or month and a half, maybe 2 months at max. I'm so excited for Miranda's 10-month class. I got my husband's blessing, love his support. Amazing. That's freaking awesome. Wait, Lisa, are you in both? Okay, Lily.
Hi again. All right. So I've also been experimenting with sitting in the power in different spaces, based on what you said about like the spirit cabinet experience. I'm just curious if you can speak more about that. Of like, I definitely felt different sensations sitting in a smaller space, like the powder room, just dragging a chair into the powder room. And like, of course, like everything felt more amplified. Everything felt stronger. Especially with the spirit guide exercise, like I felt like it was like right there.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild. And so like, do you keep doing that in this like very contained spirit space? And like, is there additional benefits to that? If you just speak more about it.
Yeah. So I love cabinet work. Interestingly, you know, cabinets in general with spiritualism were brought to us by the Davenport brothers, which likely created a lot of fraud, to be honest. That's the thing with spiritualism and physical phenomena throughout history, is that fraudulence and mediumship have always been unfortunate bedfellows, and they always go hand in hand. And so you're always going to have genuine mediums, and then you're going to have people who are just full of it. So that's just the reality of it all. I've been blessed to see both really amazing, genuine mediums and really, really, really fraudulent mediums as well. So just giving you that heads up on where cabinet comes from, just historically, and it has been used, you know, throughout time, but it started with them. I find that we're sitting in the cabinet seems to just amplify the experience in some way. And a cabinet, for those of you who don't know, is just a space. It can be a corner of a room that you just put a sheet in front of and a chair. It can be what I have, which is a whole thing made out of PVC pipe and blackout curtains. You can be sitting in your closet with a chair, right? Like it's just an enclosed space in the dark or in low lit conditions like red light or something like that, that you sit in, and it helps to impact and increase your sensitivity. I do also believe that there is value for sitting in darkened conditions. And the reason is for me, I feel like you're eliminating any other potential variables that might impact any energy that they're building up. So if, let's say that they're trying to become more physical in some way, or trying to become more, make themselves more known, you are removing any potential of light interfering with that, right? You put a pillow out in the sun for, a month, right? And it starts to fade. Why? Because there's literal light things that are hitting it and disrupting whatever, bleaching it out. And so I think it's a similar concept. Is just like you sort of sit in the womb to develop, right? A baby develops in the darkness as well. And so it's kind of that concept. It's not really scientific, but it is something that I tend to see is useful and helpful. So I don't know if there's more specific things, Lily, you want to talk about that, but that's kind of the theory in my mind of why that is beneficial. And also I have people who have like fears of the dark and things like that. And when they've sat in the power repeatedly in darkened conditions, they tend to actually lose their fear of the dark, and they actually find that it's a place of comfort. And now that's the same for me. Like when I sit in the darkness, I'm just like, the peace of this space versus the fear that some people can carry.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. I'm just like, I was just curious to know like what else, because you've talked about it, I've read about it in other books and stuff, and it's just like, okay, in addition to this kind of more amplified sensation, what else is there? Because I've also experimented with, it's been so hot, right? And so I've got like the ceiling fan going and other fans going while I'm sitting or doing the spirit guide exercise. But what's crazy is I still feel that like humidity sometimes right in front of me, or the stagnant air. And that is like, that's really interesting, especially when you have like air circulating in the room and there's no other way to explain it. And of course, it's like a different experience than when you sit in a smaller contained space. Because I almost like at one point I'm like, is this the, it's the excess CO2 getting to me, or is, like, is it real? And so I like cracked open a window or a door so that there's at least airflow. Yeah. But I mean, it's just, I guess it was just like, in addition to like all the stuff I experienced personally, like what else that is there in terms of your experience and other people? So super helpful.
Yeah, and I love how your brain works, Lily, because that's how my brain works as well. And I still meet all my experiences with that same level of like skepticism and like, okay, well, could this be this and could this be that? And honestly, I've always found that benefits me. Like, because what happens is eventually you get enough data to where you go, okay, this piece I can accept. And like, this is true. Rather than just saying, I'm going to accept every single thing that happens. Like that is, I don't think that's beneficial. I think it's good to question and challenge all your experiences. And what you'll find is over time, you'll see the pattern. You'll see things consistently happening. And I remember exactly that. Well, is that just my breath that I feel breathing on my neck when I'm, attuning? And could that just be something else? And blah, blah, blah. Could that be some sort of, just becoming more aware of sensations and blah, 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 blah. And what you find is that, no, there's some very real stuff going on. So spoiler alert, as you kind of work your way through this, but, you find that there's objectivity to the power and energy. There's objectivity to presence and spirit, and that this is something that you can repeatedly experience. So it's really cool to kind of watch you explore that and kind of push the edges of what you understand.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to say I learned of you this past week through Shift. I'm researching. Oh yeah, I read that one. I had a beautiful breakthrough in your little 15-minute exercise with the Shift yesterday. Thank you. I'm excited for the class. I'm doing alongside something else. I think your class will help me with the other class. Hopefully not overwhelming. Amazing. I'm hoping that you will like it, and I'm happy that you were able to have a little breakthrough. We love breakthroughs. Babies develop in darkness. I love that comparison. I'm a baby sitting in the power womb. Yeah, exactly. Honey, the land. Yeah. What is it about red light? Do you have knowledge? And red light seems to be more of an unseen comes. The theory and what it's supposed to emulate is the embers of a dying fire. And that is what they used to use to sit back in the day. They used to sit around a dying fire to have enough illumination so that they could see the sort of materializations and things like that were occurring without too much light that may inhibit or damage whatever was materializing. The other theory is that because it's a red light, it has a slower wavelength versus like violet, right, which is very, very quick, and that may make it easier for them to work with. But any physical phenomena that I've seen was in like bright green light. So I don't know. This is just the theories that people say. I also think that some of the theories come out of fraudulence and people needing it to be darker so that they can hide their fraud. So, it's hard to say what's true and what's not. I can only speak from my own experiences, and any genuine phenomena I have seen has actually always been in the light, but darkened light, not white light. Although I can't even say that because we have done table tipping in the light as well. But as far as like things unrelated to us and spirit manifesting in some way, for example, spirit lights or ectoplasm, those have been in a green light that was darkish, but clear enough to see across maybe like a 20-foot room. So yeah, so I don't know how much light really impacts it or if you just need the right conditions. Andrea.
Okay, so ethics in either mediumship or psychic development or really anything, how ethical or non-ethical is it to use your ability to get a job and or make more money?
To get a job or to make more money.
Like when the goal is money or monetary gain or a money, because like you get clients that are like, oh my gosh, I have a business venture coming up. I want to like make this better, or like I'm in between jobs and I'm trying to get a better paying job, or like I'm in the stock market or whatever. Like those kind of things come up.
Yeah.
And so like how ethical is it for you personally to like use your abilities to increase that gain and or when you have clients who are like, I'm trying to get some answers and get more money, and you see it or it comes to you and like you telling them it, because money is related to other people. It's like other people's money. So it's kind of like with that other phantom not knowing.
It depends on what you're saying. So someone doing it for themselves, I don't really see an issue in that really at all. Like if someone is using their own intuition and their own sort of guidance in some way to, get better stock market trades and things like that, I don't really see a problem with that personally. It's your intuition and you're going with that. So I don't really feel there's an issue with that. I think telling other people what to do is less of a concern around ethical, maybe more so like just legal protections for yourself. It's like if you're like, do this thing, put all your money in this thing, because I feel that that's what the right thing is. I'd be concerned for you and your sort of outcomes. I don't think we should be prescribing people what to do. If anything, we should be maybe sharing what we're aware of with the caveat and, what's that another word I'm looking for, but with telling them, this is just what I'm aware of. You make your own choices. I'm not giving you like, this is what you should be doing. I would make sure that you say something along those lines. But I don't see anything inherently wrong with that. Obviously, if you're going into the realm of, where you should be investing your money, give me all your money, then yes, I do think that would be bad. But I think it just depends on what you're saying and how you're saying it. I think that's the concern there for me. If anything, I would want to teach the person how to utilize their own intuition to follow that, because there's no reason why they can't be guided into that sort of thing. But there's been astrologers that have been consulted for stock market work. There's been all kinds of different divination tools that have been used for that. So this would just be an extension of that kind of work, in my opinion.
Cool, because we're doing career in psychism now, right? So I was like looking at the stuff.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
And people care and they ask, they're interested in it. And to me, it's like, if they're going after more aligned, sure, but like more money specifically, and they're going to be communicating with another person to give them that said more money, it's like how deep can you go through the threshold to like kind of pass some barriers to be like, all right, they're looking for this person, and then say this, and like this is what to focus on, and la la la. But
I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing per se. I would just be really cautious with saying this is the facts and this is the truth. I think that we should be giving options, not this is the thing, right? I think that's the safer thing to do, just as a protection of yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that would be my thought. Yeah. Just seeing there's other questions over you. Okay, I don't see any. Other questions, other feelings, other thoughts as we gingerly make our way closer to the end of today. I didn't see a Zoom live sign up for your Monday late session. Is that just done through socials? And could you please remind me of what time usually happens? Are you Monday late session? I'm trying to understand what that is.
I I'm sorry. I feel like usually on Monday you come on at two different
right.
points
Thank
in the
you.
day.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I have so many different classes and things that I'm doing, so I was thinking Oakbridge.
I'm sure you do.
So I usually come on around 6:30, usually 6:37, anywhere between. This is so broad. Anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30 is usually when I start. So some days I'll start a little bit earlier, of Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific, thank you.
Pacific Time. So that's generally somewhere around there. You'll see me live on either TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube.
And so there isn't a live like this.
There
for that,
isn't a live like this, no. So it's through social media,
Perfect.
although I do bring people up onto my lives. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Am I missing some? Yeah, Marcia.
Hey,
Hi.
can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Awesome. Question around the subtlety of spirit.
Yeah.
So why, first of all, does spirit have to be so subtle? I mean, the feelings that I feel when I'm sitting in the power are strong, but the information is so subtle. And like, I'm just wondering, with time and with experience, does the information, do you still experience it as subtle? And will that be like, with time and more experience, it'll be stronger for us?
Yeah. So, yes, the experience of spirit will absolutely become more obvious and more like stronger and stronger as you work with your awareness. Right now, it's subtle just because you're not used to paying attention to that sort of thing. But the more that you start to become more and more paying attention to it, the more that you will experience. And so I would say for now, it's incredibly subtle, but it will become more obvious as you improve and as your brain starts going, that subtlety is what I'm supposed to be paying attention to. Therefore, it becomes more salient and you're able to experience it more and more obviously. So does that help? It doesn't have to be subtle. That's the other thing. And sometimes you're going to have, it all depends on your level of surrender, your level of awareness, your level of soft focus. Mm-hmm. Because the more that you are surrendered, the more that you're blending, the more obvious that the spirit becomes. And then it can be freaking really obvious. I mean, it can be like viscerally very clear. So it does take a little bit of time of getting used to that space and not clamping down, because all of that hard focus or like trying to reach for it, which is what our natural inclination is to do, is what makes it go away. So as you get better and better at it, you don't grip as much. And then you grip even less. And that's what makes it stronger, clearer, and more accurate. Does that make sense?
Thank you for that.
So it doesn't have to be subtle.
Absolutely.
But I mean, you did a great job. I mean, I was in your room when you were working, I think was it with Kevin or was it with someone else?
Yeah, I was working with Kevin.
Yeah, you did a great job. Like you were doing exactly where you needed to be for that part. So.
Yeah, I just felt like I knew spirit was right there. So now give me something else.
Yes, and that's
efforting, right?
Exactly. That's the natural inclination is like, you're here now, so where's the thing? But it's so not that. It's never that arrival moment. It's always, I feel you now, so now actually I'm going to continuously become less interested, because that keeps you open versus, okay, you're here now, grab it, right? Like that's what shoots us in the foot. It's really this thing of like, there's never a moment of arrival, so I'm constantly letting go, and then they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And now you're able to kind of really experience them a lot clearer.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have recommendations for learning regarding ability to surrender? I have a practice. It's called sitting in the power, and learning how to sit in the power properly, learning how to notice, accept, let it go. In our Foundations 1, we teach specifically how to surrender. So in class 2, we have an exercise called hard focus, soft focus that aims to teach you what it feels like to be active versus what it feels like to let go and fully surrender. And then learning, what is that mechanism within me that helps me to do less, that helps me to allow, that helps me to surrender. And so between those two things, that's what we use to teach people surrender. But it's really a practice, because surrender is something that we aren't ever taught in our lives at all. We're actually always taught to be active and try harder and do more and achieve. And really, we're never taught, at least in the West, how to just totally let go. And that totally letting go is what you need to do to be able to receive and perceive the spirit. Any other questions? Is the talk from Sunday recorded or posted anywhere? So if you had RSVP'd for that talk on Sunday, you will receive the recorded version of that. So there's like 150 or 170 people who RSVP'd. And so we are going to just send that out to all those people. We will eventually post it. I'll probably post it onto my YouTube for folks to be able to access easily. We may post it somewhere else on the website, but the website's getting redone right now. So we're not really adding too much to it because we want to have a different user experience. When will your next Foundations 1 cohort start? It starts in January. And also, hello, RJ. Yeah, it starts in January. It'll probably be I think I said the 13th or the 10th, I think. Let me look. I'm just looking at the calendar. It's going to probably start. I don't know why my calendar keeps getting totally messed up. Hold on one second. I don't know what it's doing. Reopening it. Okay. There we go. The 10th. The week of the 10th. So it'll probably be the 9th that it begins again, is my guess. Yeah, Saturday the 9th. That's my guess. If it's not the 9th, it'll be the 16th, but I'm pretty sure it's the 9th that we're going to be doing that. I do also teach Foundations through mentoring. It is more expensive, though, because it's just 4 of you in the group. So that's the only trouble with that, because you're doing small group mentoring. So waiting till January is the more affordable option. But then again, you get much more detailed, direct work. So, yeah. But I honestly prefer people to take it via the classroom, because you get a bigger community, you meet more people, you read more people, and I think that that's also really, really good. So I do recommend taking it through Oakbridge if you can. Some people can't, because Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific are not easy for them. Let's see. So Kendra, what they're referring to was not the Shift Network class. They were referring to the class we just did on Sunday, which is our where Psyche and Spirit meet. So that's where you get that recording. But it's funny because someone just said to me the other day or today, they're like, you're everywhere right now. You're like on the Shift Network. I'm getting emails from them and I'm getting emails from you guys, and you're doing this talk and that talk. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm everywhere, but like, cool. I guess that's a good thing. But yeah. So yeah, let me take this last question, then we're going to wrap it up. Is your Sitting in the Power on your YouTube? I didn't know you had a YouTube. Can I get the name? All my socials are Medium Michael Mayo. We're actually going to put the Sitting in the Power on. We're going to keep sitting. We're going to put Sitting in the Power probably embedded on our website at Oakbridge, so you can use it for free. We haven't done that yet, but that's likely what's going to happen. So yeah. That's probably what's going to happen. But we're redoing our website. What's the difference between your two classes coming up? One on Shift and one on the website. The Shift Network one focuses on desire, distraction, and expectation. And in a perfect world, you have some experience with mediumship, although you don't have to. But ideally, you have some experience with mediumship. And we're really looking at the tension in our work and how we can remove that tension. What we're doing with Psyche and Spirit is we're also looking to remove blocks. However, we're also doing personal development alongside discovering those blocks. It's more geared towards not the blocks that you're doing with the mechanics of your mediumship, but rather the blocks that come up in addition to the mechanics. It's the blocks that come up in your personal development. It's kind of uncovering, well, why do I feel a sense of perfectionism? Why do I feel a sense of beating myself up if I don't get it right, right? It's looking at some of that sort of thing on the more personal development side. So that Psyche and Spirit class starts next Sunday at 10 a.m. It's a 6-week course, and taught by myself and associate therapist and medium Miranda McDonald. So if you're interested in that, we do have a few spots left. It's actually filling up, which we're happy about, to have all you guys there. But we do these lives, these Q&As every Monday around 2 o'clock. So if you are interested in doing that, they're for free. And you can get all the information that you want to ask me. And I'm so happy we have some new faces popping in here too to ask questions as well. So that's really, really awesome. So I always appreciate it when you guys come in to the Zoom live. Obviously, this is going out everywhere else, but it's always nice to have you guys in here. So I will be going live probably closer to 6:30 is my guess, just because I already went to the gym, so I can start earlier. So probably closer to around 6:30, so I can be done a little bit earlier. For whatever reason, I've been falling asleep at like 10 o'clock, which is not me. I'm usually like, my bedtime's 1 in the morning. That's like when I go to sleep. But my body's just like, hey, go to bed. And I'm like, so getting a little bit tired a little bit earlier. So that's a little interesting, but anyway, thank you everybody for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you here and asking your questions. And I will see you guys a little bit later where I'll be doing some readings. Miranda might come on and kind of talk about the course too. I'm not sure what she's planning, but I'll definitely try to do at least one message while I'm there so you can see me work. So anyway, thank you everybody. Appreciate your time, appreciate your energy, and we will see you later. Bye.